to On the Line, where we argue and talk in civil manners about college football. This is a great week, everyone, because we actually have huge games to discuss. We don't need to get all complex with our topics. 2 games this week. I'll be honest with you guys right from the start. I don't like the home teams, but I'm intrigued to see how they do. Kentucky home against Georgia, LSU home against Alabama. Let's start with Kentucky, Georgia. Convince me this is going to be a great game. Kentucky, a chance here to win the SEC East. John Hale, you covered.
I'll be there. Yeah, I'll start. Kentucky has the number 1 scoring defense in the country, so there's a reason to think they can at least keep it close. Their offense has been terrible, frankly, for most of the last 3 weeks, but they've scored enough to win the last 2 games. They scored a game-winning drive, whether you're going to count that pass interference penalty or not, in the end zone against Missouri, so maybe there's a little bit of confidence going into this Georgia game. I'm still thinking Georgia has a pretty substantial edge, but there's at least more reason to think Kentucky can hang with them as opposed to midway through that fourth quarter a week ago.
Yeah, I agree with John that the fact that Kentucky has the top defense in the country is going to keep this close, but it's not going to win it. Kentucky is passing for less than 150 yards a game. They're one of the worst in the country in terms of red zone offense. If this was a game that was in the teens, I think Kentucky wins it, but it's going to get on up into the 20s and maybe more, and I just don't think Kentucky has the offense to score that much.
I like Kentucky to cover the spread. I don't like them to win the game, and kind of sticking with the theme, I like Kentucky's defense. I don't think they have enough offense to win this game. I don't think it spoils Kentucky's season, though. I really think they still have a chance to go 10-2 going into a bowl game, which not the same as playing for a conference championship, but a 10-win season in Kentucky is pretty special.
Now, Glenn, you've seen you've seen Georgia get thumped pretty soundly not that long ago, and people were thinking a lot different things about Georgia. What do you think about this game?
Well, I was impressed with how Georgia bounced back against Florida. Sure, I thought Florida might win that game, but I think Georgia will probably handle Kentucky. I mean, really, Kentucky shouldn't have beaten Missouri. I mean, they got a gift pass interference call in the end zone. I thought that was a much worse call than the call against Devin White, which I think was a good call. But no, I think Georgia is probably going to handle Kentucky by 14 points.
Okay, now I'm going to submit a column I wrote a couple weeks ago from Neyland Stadium to @OldTakesExposed. I'm hoping Coach O will expose this column, which said basically that Alabama is going to blow everyone out and the season's over. LSU, you mentioned Devin White, Glenn. That hurts. Devin White not there in the first half. Regardless, I can't buy anyone against Alabama based on what I've seen. Who thinks differently from that? Can LSU, in that incredible environment, with a lot of talent on that team, make this a football game?
Well, I don't think so. I think LSU would stay close, maybe at halftime, maybe into the third quarter, early fourth. But I think eventually Alabama's going to wear them out, which is what's happened the last 2 years, 10-0, 24-10 losses. I think that's what's going to happen, 27-13 Alabama. But it could really be a wild show for a while, particularly if LSU can intercept Tua early in the game. This is the best defense Alabama will have seen. They lead the nation in interceptions with 14. And if they're close at halftime and Devin White runs out the chute by himself, which may happen to start the second half, it's going to be an incredible moment in the stadium, which will be loud anyway because it's the number 1 team, it's Alabama. But there's the added hate and anger from the team as well as the fan base over that call. So it could be interesting for a while, but I think in the end, Alabama's going to kind of pull away.
Yeah, I don't think this game is going to be anything of what we want it to be, which is close. LSU beat Georgia. A lot of years, if you beat maybe the best team in the East, that means something. LSU beat Mississippi State, a really good team. A lot of years that means something. It doesn't this year. The comparisons are all skewed by the fact that Alabama is just so much better than everybody else. I mean, nobody's got within 3 touchdowns of Alabama. A&M lost by 22 to the Tide. I don't think LSU gives them much of a game in this one. I don't even think LSU covers. I think it's 14, 15 points. I don't even think LSU gets that close.
It's easy money, Joe. The line is 14.5. Call your bookie, or if you're a law-abiding citizen, go to your nearest state that has legalized sports gambling and take the tide. And this is going to be a blowout. LSU can't hang with Alabama. I don't know if anyone in the SEC can. In fact, I don't think anyone in the SEC can. The fact that it's 14.5 screams easy money to me. Go get rich.
Please, someone tell me LSU can do this.
Unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to help you there. I got married 7 years ago this weekend, the night that LSU and Alabama played each other. That was a good game with a lot of stakes. This one won't be. LSU's top points this year is 38. Alabama scored more than 38 in every single game. It's not going to happen.
To Glenn's point, though, Alabama has not played a good defense. Really a remotely good defense. That doesn't sway me, but at least, it's worth mentioning here. And intercepting Tua, I hope someone intercepts him before the end of the season. All right, guys. Now the playoff rankings are out, so we could do a number of things with that. I wanted to, we're doing all the hypotheticals. I wanted one scenario in particular. I wanted to get your take on this. So let's say Alabama and Clemson do what they should do and win out. Let's say Notre Dame is undefeated. Michigan wins the Big Ten. Oklahoma, and of course Michigan, I think probably the best defense out there. Oklahoma, best non-Alabama offense out there. Let's say they win out. In that scenario, 5 teams, 4 spots, which team is left out?
I think Oklahoma gets left out there because, to me, you have to put Notre Dame in if they're undefeated because Notre Dame started the year with a win over Michigan. That has to mean something. And so, to me, the debate would come down between Michigan and Oklahoma. I think Michigan has the better loss and at that point would have better victories. What I think would be more interesting is what if Ohio State runs the table and they have to choose, between Ohio State or Oklahoma for that last spot. But I just don't see a way that the committee could leave out a Notre Dame that would be undefeated at that point that's beat Michigan.
I think my concern would be, well, first off, Oklahoma, I think, is going to get left out because they don't have much of anybody to play after this. They play West Virginia, so they can give themselves a little bump, but I don't think they have the schedule to move up. My fear and concern is that when you get down to a Notre Dame and Michigan possibly for a 4th slot, and Michigan still has Penn State on its schedule, still has Ohio State on its schedule. Right now, they're only 1 spot back from Notre Dame in the college football playoff rankings. You could possibly have Michigan leapfrog Notre Dame unfairly, and even though they lost head-to-head to Notre Dame, take a spot over the Irish.
Yeah, I'm with them. Oklahoma gets left out. I know that Rob Mullins and the committee promised that they redo this every week, but we saw the first rankings last night, and Oklahoma's the lowest-ranked team in that group. If they all hold serve, I just can't see a scenario where they pass either Michigan or Notre Dame there.
Just for fun, I was thinking of this scenario the other day. It probably couldn't happen. But if LSU beats Alabama Saturday and went to number 1 and Alabama ended up number 4 in the final playoff poll, then LSU would play Alabama in the semi. If LSU won that game, they would have 2 wins over Alabama and wouldn't be the national champion yet. Of course, it's not going to happen, but it would be amazing.
Well, we've seen those LSU-Alabama rematches before.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. I wrote that last week. If LSU does somehow beat Alabama Saturday, their prize is they got to play them again. They would have to play them again either in the semi or the national championship game if they got there. So it would be 2011 all over again.
I will say this, guys. Listen, you can say it's unfair, but teams change through the year. Michigan would beat Notre Dame by about 17 points right now. So this is where don't shake your head at me, Blake Topmeyer.
Notre Dame's better. They've made a quarterback change. Notre Dame's better.
Yeah, but they're not. But Michigan's a lot better. Michigan really dominated that game after a freaky, weird start with a couple long passes. Look, the committee is there because they're supposed to take more information than just what's your record, what's your number of losses, and who won head-to-head. Teams change tremendously in the course of a year. So if it does get to something like that, I sure hope that no one would put Notre Dame ahead of Michigan based on especially Michigan having won in Columbus by then and a Big Ten championship game. So I'm going to give Blake thank you for bringing gambling into it. We don't talk gambling enough on this show. You get the take of the day. Thanks, everyone, for participating and for watching. We'll be back next week on the Line.